This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year.
2024. Have you written 2023 yet when you meant to write 2024?
Not yet.
No, okay.
It's coming.
I think now it's probably gone now. You've missed your window.
Do you think?
Yeah, if you haven't done it by January. What is it today?
January the 6th.
Yeah or no, that's very much his area.
13th night.
Yeah, 13th night. If you haven't done it by 13th night, you're into 24 now.
What do you think about when you see the...
Were you into 24, by the way? The series?
Oh, no.
Somebody bought me
Way
the
too
box
tense
set.
for the likes of me, Frank.
Somebody gave me that box set, and they bought it for me and said, honestly, this will blow your mind, change your life.
Oh, don't hate it when they say that, the pressure.
Yeah, so I watched one episode and I thought, I didn't think, oh, no. I thought,
You didn't think maybe I'll join the CIA?
no, I didn't think that.
Okay. That was Kiefer, of course.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, was it? Oh, yeah, okay. What happened to him?
I don't know. You don't see him so much these days,
No.
Keith.
But you don't see me that much. I don't want to poke the finger at anyone.
Do you think his family call him R. Kiefer? I hope so.
I thought
I
for
hope
so
so.
long his name was Keith O. Sutherland.
Oh,
Because Americans run their names together so much. Kiefer Sutherland.
yeah,
I thought, oh, he's Irish.
yeah.
Kiefer.
Anyway, if you're listening, Kiefer. Here's the thing. Here was my start to the year.
Yeah.
Alan Carr came on the telly, and my son said, "Oh, I really like Alan Carr. I think he's funnier than you are."
Are you joking?
And
You
I
did not
thought-
say that.
I thought, you know what? I knew the barbed remarks from child to parent would come. I didn't think they'd come this soon.
Or through this roof.
Or indeed this barb. I don't know. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Wow.
Frank.
So, and it wasn't done in a comedy teasing way.
It was in a really
It
thoughtful...
was about time. It's about time we got this out in the open, kind of a
It
way.
was a casual cruelty.
Oh man!
Oh, my God.
What did you say? You didn't. What could you say?
I couldn't. Well, I couldn't argue back, could I? It's not like when I saw former England player Alan Mullery having an argument with Rodney Marsh, two old players, and they disagreed about some football thing. And Alan Mullery said, "Come on, get your medals out on the table. We'll see who knows the most about football." I'd love to see that in a political debate programme. No, so I just had to take it on the chin, but
didn't-
inside.
You didn't take the approach of if you catch your kid smoking, you make them smoke a whole pack and say, well, then we're going to watch everything Alan Carr's ever done. See how much you like him after that.
Oh, it'd be all right, that was apart from the wee element. No, look, I like Alan Carr. Obviously, he's a funny man, but is he funnier than me? I don't think so.
8, 12, 15. No.
Oh no! I can't take the other side. I think if you had a national vote, he'd win. Let's face it. But it's fine. We can exist on the same planet. But knowing that my child is thinking, imagine if Alan Carr.
That's a huge concession you're making. We can exist on the same planet.
Yeah. But oh man.
Frank, you're always the funniest to us.
Yeah,
Yes, come on.
that's made it worse. I
I
get
know
a
it
feeling
has.
this link's been about 12 and a half minutes.
I
The
know.
producer's doing her nails.
How
It's
soon?
got that kind of feeling to
How
it.
soon into the new year did
Have
this
you
happen?
timed? What time? What's your timing on that first link?
My timing?
Yeah, I presume you run a clock of your own under the table, Alex Ferguson
Just in
style.
the back of my own mind.
I always think Pierre
My
has
mind
got his
palace.
own control levers in operation. He wouldn't just let this drift, Pierre. Man, he needs one hand on the button at all times. That's what I've heard. Bernard, get out of here.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I don't know how I describe this, but I'm fairly confident as ever in my descriptive powers. You know, when you've have a laugh and you have a laugh which seems to come from another universe. They're very, very rare, which is probably just as well, because they seem to be quite an attack on your body's main systems. And you laugh so much, noises come out of you you've never heard before. You get a bit lightheaded because you're not breathing properly.
It's like when you're listening or watching Alan Carr. Is it that?
Not anymore. The sounds are coming out of me. Anyway, if anyone's just tuned in, they'll think, well, my son has announced that Alan Carr is funnier than me. It's official. Anyway, do you know there's one, and you're just sort of going, and I haven't had one of those for, I think, 20 years.
Untaken.
Yeah. No, but you know what I mean? Those uncontrolled ones.
It's rare.
It's a sort of childlike laughter, isn't it?
But it's beyond. It actually, you start to think, I actually feel ill now. I feel a bit lightheaded, but I can't stop. The laugh has taken. The closest I've been was this New Year's Eve. Kath went to bed. She is not interested in the whole New Year's Eve fireworks thing or any of that. So she went to bed about 9. And me and Boz stopped
I love her.
And me and Boz laugh. Not at that level. I'm still waiting for my next one of those. I don't know if I'd get through it now at my age. One of those laughs. But we watched Jules Holland's Hootenanny.
Oh.
And I don't know, Jules, God bless Jules Holland. He's obviously a talented man. Although,
Boogie piano?
if somebody gave me a list of highly prized talents I wouldn't want, Boogie Woogie Piano would be up there, right up there with baking. But we just laughed. We just laughed at the Jules Holland Orchestra. What? I don't know. It just seemed like the funniest thing. And Jules sits on like an oil drum with paint stains on it and goes diddle 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 diddle. And I don't know, we laughed.
I think that's why that level of laugh is so rare, because it's impossible to plan what's going to do it.
We didn't reach that level, but it's the closest. It reminded me of those kind of controlled laughs, because I didn't know what we were laughing at. I think that's the secret of it. I didn't. And then Rod Stewart got up to sing with them, and Boz completely lost it. It just completely, because Rod Stewart wasn't doing his hits. He was doing things like no one to talk to, like an old American songbook type thing, which is always hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm just saying, I know there was a lot of comedy on, but nothing touched the Hootenanny.
Do you think when you're a comedian, you get so used to thinking through jokes or understanding them when you're watching them as a person who does them as well, that I find that the stuff that gets round that mental block and creates that big laugh tends to be either something unexpected like that or very simple absurdity, or someone falling down or an animal doing something weird?
Well, my partner, Kath, almost never laughs at any of my jokes at all. I mean, it's just a fact.
That's not true.
No, it is true. It really is true. It's very humbling, which is a good thing. Everyone in showbiz should have some sort of humbling assistant. But one thing she has always laughed at is people falling over and stuff like that. And we were once in Venice, sitting on the floor by St Mark's Square, and I'd been bitten by a mosquito and had a big lump on my head. Sort of Looney Tunes style. And we were sitting talking, and another mosquito landed on that lump and bit, whatever they do, bit the lump, stung the lump. And I thought Kath was going to die. She laughed so. She literally lay on the dirty floor, and she's a bit of a hygiene person. She literally lay on the dirty tile floor and laughed. She laughed so much, I think she had to lie on something that was non-porous.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So here's my Christmas presents, if you're interested.
Oh, lovely.
Walking socks.
Very nice.
I know all socks could lay a claim to that title.
But none so
For
sturdy.
some reason, walking, when it's applied to socks, You're thinking long distances and rough terrain.
Have they got a little white fleck in them? I always associate the activewear sock with a little white fleck.
Well, they come in many varieties now. I think they used to be all look like that, but now I've had black walking socks. They ought to be called hiking socks, really, to properly distinguish them.
Goths go on a walk. I love it.
I'm sure. I've never seen a goth on a trek.
No, they don't trek really,
I've
do
seen
they?
them.
What are they? What outerwear do
I've
they
seen
have?
them sitting in the cemeteries of villages and small towns drinking cider.
Yeah.
In fairness, some of the longer leather jackets, the black trench coats made of leather, that's pretty all-terrain.
They're not practical for the hiking.
No.
Anyway, walking socks I had, and then I had lemon curd, a jar of lemon curd.
Was it in the socks?
No, that was from a separate gifter.
Ah.
It's never really caught on, has it, the curd?
No.
You know, when the jam, you can get more or less every fruit. How many
I
curds?
see what you mean.
How many curds do you come? I've seen lime curd, but that's because lime is always used as sort of lemons. It's like Danny Minogue to the lemons, Kylie Minogue.
It always gets in on the act, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it's
doesn't
like,
quite make it.
It's the second phone call, isn't it? Lime. Lemons work in I don't know, Pellegrino project.
Yeah.
So we're going to have lime curd. I can't think of any other curds I've seen.
No. Do you get strawberry curd?
If you do, it doesn't happen in our house.
So lemon curd.
Yeah, but then I had some licorice.
All sorts?
No. I'm sort of take no prisoners licorice. Licorice that's not accompanied by anything to make it be less licorice.
Oh, no.
Oh, is it purest dad licorice?
Licorice that comes in like a spool. Do you know that stuff?
Oh, yes.
Like a Vertigo record label, but without the white.
Yeah.
And it's just like it's a wheel of licorice.
How big is this wheel?
Oh, I'd say diameter.
Yes.
And I'm going to go imperial.
Okay.
If I may. I'd say it's a 3.5 inches.
That's a lot of licorice.
Oh, man.
Okay.
It's like eating a biscuit, you know. But I suppose the jewel in the crown was I got a tin of driving sweets.
Like walking socks and driving sweets.
Yeah, exactly. And they have makes about as much sense. But
did they have the bed of icing sugar?
well, when I opened them in the car, there was a spray of icing sugar went all over my jeans. I thought if the police stopped me now, in my line of work, who's going to believe that that's icing sugar? But yeah, they're in my car now in the circular tin. I've finally done it and got the driving sweets. And that was the full extent of my Christmas presents.
What flavour are driving sweets?
Don't try and make me feel better.
So hang on, you got the let's just go through this. You got lemon curd,
lemon
driving
curd,
sweets, licorice,
and
socks,
and the socks. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
A Willy Wonka staycation set.
Yeah, it's one of those. When you get when you put your presents in a little pile, you wanted to put them all into the sock for carrying. Usually, you want one big annual that you can use as a base and carry your other presents on like a tray. But I didn't get anything that big.
Oh, okay.
So that was it. It was, and what I'm saying, it was a shabby year on the gift front.
Hang. Oh my God.
Well, there's no other way of selling that. I can't talk that up.
Oh my God, Frank.
That bundle.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Frank, Georgina has got in touch with us.
What? George Foreman's daughter.
Oh yes, on all of his progeny.
All the boys are called George and the girls are called Georgina, Georgette, and etc.
Oh, lovely. Georgina has got in touch.
He told me, George Foreman, that he gets $1 a grill.
Wow. How many do you think he sold?
Oh, millions.
You must have done. The fat drains right out of the meat and down into the tray under the grill. I've got that tattooed on my mind from how often that advert was on cable
But
television.
everyone's told he gets $1, yeah.
God.
And Snoop Dogg told me he gets $1 a grill. But it turned out to be a typo. So anyway.
I don't know why, but that reminds me of that thing your manager sent you with 3 lines. Remember when you were in the hotel? And you got a big bunch of flowers from him. What did it say?
It had just come. 3 lines had just come out. I was in. I think I was in San Francisco, and I checked into my hotel, and there was a big bunch of flowers, which I thought at first the hotel had given me, and then I realised there was a card with it. And when I looked at the card, it was from my manager, and it said straight in at number 1, 56,000 units sold. The least romantic.
56,000 units.
Wow. Units of music.
Yeah, exactly.
Half a kilogram of music, please.
Who has ever written units
It's like it
in
was
a card
number
on
1,
flowers?
you know. It was the most exciting thing. It reduced.
So anyway, Georgina has got in touch to say proper curd, an answer to your curd question, Frank.
Yeah.
Proper curd is formed using the acidity from citrus fruits. And that's why it's those flavours only. What about the orange?
Yeah, I've never
curd?
seen orange curd.
But it must be possible.
It's like jam
Yes, it is.
with fog.
A jam with fog.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's like if you used a jar of jam as the setting for a Jack the Ripper movie, it would look like curd.
Well, here's a question,
I do
Frank.
love, can I say though, I mean, it was chosen because I am a big lemon curd enthusiast.
I'm interested in your consumption of curd. For this reason, I struggle with curd. Can I tell you why? I can't put it straight onto bread. Do you have with butter or without?
Well, here's my thing. I find it a bit of a, you know, when you've got to get the marge out and then put it back and get the bread. Oh, I find with curd, with jam, if you put jam on bread, it's like, what's going on? There's no undersheet. You're asking me to sleep on the raw mattress with its terrible quilting buttons sticking in me and its label.
I don't. Why do they have the label on it?
Yeah,
Put it underside.
horrible buttons.
Why do they have buttons on it?
Yeah. Anyway, and there's a wee stain. If you buy a new mattress, there's a wee stain. They make them at the factory like that. Anyway. That's what jam's like, but curd, because curd is a bit buttery in its texture, I find you don't need anything underneath it. It comes with a fitted sheet. It's like it's in a sleeping bag. You can
go
lie
naked.
straight on
So
the mat.
you go naked curd.
So that's time saved and margarine saved.
Why are you saving margarine?
It's essentially a money spinner. Curd, lemon curd for me.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we have had, I would say it's a number of people, would you agree, getting in touch regarding your favourite snack.
Oh, yes.
Martin Gardner, for example, he begins, Takis New Year Roll.
Okay.
I think that might
We
be
should
work.
say, if you're new to the show, which I don't think anyone's been since about 2021.
Do we not get new people anymore?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We're struggling to hold on to the old lot.
No, don't say that. But
No, not. I'm joking. They are, yes, I am often halfway through the morning. In fact, Jenny is due to go out onto the streets. Anyway, we haven't told her yet. I eat Takis, which is a very, very hot snack. And like I say, I'm loath to say, because I'm not trying to sell Takis to anyone. I don't get free Takis. And the other people on the team generally don't like it.
You remember?
So I'm not. And poor Emily had one, and then robbed her eye, and was blind for 3 days.
Yeah. And just to prove that we're not receiving any money from Takis, the only strapline I can give them is I utterly despise them.
Okay.
Okay?
Takis and
Do you
curd?
despise them?
Oh, I despice them.
Anyway, what's
Takis New Year all. Just wondering, imagine if that caught on.
I don't think
Everyone
it will.
starts saying it to each other. Hey, Takis New Year. Just wondering whether Frank has been able to get his hands on the limited edition Zombie Takis. The flavour, you ask? Habanero. I never know how to say that.
No.
Habanero.
I think you
went
say
French.
all those words. like-
Habanero.
Habanero.
How do you say it?
Habanero.
Frank?
I say habanero. I have to imagine myself with crossed bandoleros.
Yeah.
Habanero.
Yeah.
And cucumber.
Yes.
Habanero and cucumber. In the famous words of Crash Test Dummies, do you know what the famous words are?
I don't.
I didn't either, but apparently it's
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Was that when the real crash test dummies were tied in a room at the back, and there was some bogus ones who had taken their place, and the real crash test crash dummies had like plasters over their mouths, and we go. Anyway,
Frank,
I have tried new limited
you?
edition. In fact,
when did you get those?
Well, Bars had one in his advent calendar.
What sort of an advent calendar was that?
Well, my partner constructs an advent calendar, and it has a tiny note in it every day that says things like, look under the dog's bed. And when he looks under the dog's bed, there's for one day, there was some stamps from, I can't remember what country it was, but they had Kiss on them, the band. But sometimes they're things like a bottle of Prime, or a packet of Takis. So one of them was the Zombie limited edition. I'll tell you what's surprising. I'm not familiar with Hammerhell. I don't really know what it is. I presume it's a hot thing. It's one of God's hot things.
It certainly is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I love it when you describe me like that.
you could really taste the cucumber as well. Now, I don't know how they've done that. I thought the cucumber would be lost in the hell.
Yes.
But a bit like Gabrielle Hell. And
But Frank, why would anyone want the cucumber to dominate? I mean, let's be
I
honest.
didn't say dominated. I said it got a looking.
You said you can really taste it.
Well, I thought it would be lost in a hell. But it wasn't.
Are these supposed to be that's what a zombie tastes like, or are these?
No, that's what zombies like.
These are what zombies
I've
enjoy.
always wanted to know what a zombie tastes like.
You must have seen, those things those things in zombie films that you see and you think, hold on a minute. Turns out they're actually cucumbers. Don't panic, folks.
I don't like the packaging.
What a day! What a day! Remember that, Ken Dodd? What a day for shoving a cucumber through the vicar's letterbox and shouting, "The Martians have landed." One of the great jokes of all time. Yes, I tried them and I liked them, but for me, I'm still very loyal to Fuego,
But
the original ones.
the packet, Frank, has a wizened old green hand on the front.
Oh, does it? God, I thought it was mirrored.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had a lot of curd correspondence
Oh, okay.
because you've been talking about your, I'm going to go there, passion for lemon curd. It's specifically lemon, we should say, isn't it?
Yes.
None of the other curds.
Well, I
Frank-
said there aren't many. That's just it.
Well, little
Wow.
do you know.
Oh, are there other curds?
Oh, yes,
Oh,
my
no,
friend.
there's going to be stuff like... I don't know what the citruses are.
Well, 630 gets in touch and says, "Hi, Frank, Emily, and Pierre. Just thought you should be informed of the full range of options regarding curd.
Okay.
I had passion fruit curd from an English heritage shop. It was
Ooh.
delicious. They also seem to do toffee apple curd, ginger
Oh,
curd,
no.
and elderflower and rose from Laura.
Hold on. I thought we was told it had to be citrus.
It's a new world. It's 2024, Frank. The rules for
I just
curd have
can't
changed.
believe anyone
I'd
nowadays.
like to say,
Only citrus, I was told by Georgina.
Georgina, I have questions.
I'm afraid you're going to have to. It's the countdown moment when you pass me a bit of paper with your maths working out to check you haven't just copied my answer.
Oh, I hated that, Frank.
Oh,
What about when they go, I did that as well? I never believe it.
Yeah, that's what I've got. And also, what I would love someone to do on there is the person who's come up with the answer, when they say, yeah, I got the same, and they show them the bit of paper, they sort of go, oh, yeah, this is embarrassing. I would say, take the paper and say, hold on, well, let's go through this. And get a pen and just go through it line by line.
Here's the thing. I know a man who would do that.
Yeah, Pierre.
Now, what about this? Thomas from Aberystwyth. Dear Frank, could your partner make you an advent calendar for Christmas 24 featuring lemon curd?
But it would be every day. I don't know what was coming.
Bear with.
Okay.
Admittedly, it'll be the same treat each day. But no different to a chocolate one with the same daily treat. Just a thought from a fellow lemon curd connoisseur.
That's a good point. That people don't moan about chocolate every day.
I think Thomas has got a point.
Can I tell you something, by the way? Someone said I had a cup of coffee at someone's house the other day.
What a lovely story.
I know. That's it.
Some people tell stories like
And
that.
they said,
Yes, they do.
Do you know what I mean? I had a coffee. Oh, lovely.
and they said to me, hold on a minute, I thought you're anti, you always moaned about coffee and said you didn't like it. I said, well, I didn't like it. But then it turns out, I said, I've been having coffee every week on the radio show, and now I'm sort of a bit more open to it. And they said, what have you been having? I said, chai latte.
Oh,
And they
fancy.
said, that's tea. I said, no, it's like chai latte. And they said, no, that's tea. So I haven't been having. Oh, what a fool I felt.
You were tricked.
And then I remembered there was an Indian Uber driver said to me, did you see that shop? Did you see that shop? They were advertising chai tea. And I said, no. I thought, what does he mean? Does he wanted to stop and get some? He said, chai it means tea.
Yeah.
I said, okay. It's not QI, it's Uber.
Frank,
Anyway, sorry. Here's a question as well. Sorry.
I wanted to tell you about my haul.
Okay, yeah.
But we'll
can I ask
get
you
there.
one question?
Sure.
Say Rod Stewart is up now and pottering about the
Obsessed
house.
with Rod
Okay.
Stewart.
Yeah, and he has a shower.
Yeah.
You know, we all sing. Do you sing in the shower, guys?
Yeah,
Sometimes.
always.
So I tend to sing Roy Orbison in the shower because I take advantage of the echo.
Yeah.
You got
Does
to have one
Rod,
song.
so Rod Stewart, when he's is he singing? And now the end is near. Or when he's in the show, is he? And now the end is near. And then when he goes on stage, he goes, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah, it has some Takis right before he goes on stage.
Is that his voice or is that his stage voice?
He's got to be stuck in it by now.
No, do you remember I did the Raw Variety and he phoned up on the morning and said he couldn't do it because he hadn't got a sore throat. And what he actually said was he couldn't do it because he did have a sore throat. And he said, what I did, I switched it around for comedy purposes. But I'm not convinced that him or the guy from Stereophonics actually, that's their natural singing voice.
Oh,
and if anyone's got any insights, 8, 12, 15. If anyone's got any sidelights, 8, 12, 15. I think that's about it.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We occasionally plug things on the show. Emily Dean does a podcast called Walking the Dog. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's quite big. And she goes on a walk with a celebrity and their dog.
Guess who I went with?
This week, over to Emily.
Guess who I went on a walk with? Too long.
Too long, yeah.
No. Frank Skinner, MBE, and his dog, Frank.
Yes, Poppy.
The dog's not called Frank, by the way. Frank Jr. Imagine if you'd have called the dog Frank Jr.
Yeah, that would have said. But it's a lady.
Yes.
That's the problem.
It's one of my favourite ever interviews. I'm not just saying that. He was fabulous. Yeah.
And the dog actually speaks on it. I mean,
Well, she barks,
Yeah,
Frank.
when I say speaks.
We finally hear the dog side of things.
Exactly.
And at one point, someone comes over, just a quick spoiler alert, and compliments Ray. And Frank says, no one ever says that to my dog.
No, whenever I've been out with Emily and her dog, which is a Shih Tzu,
Yeah.
it's a bit like when you push a pram, and people go, oh, a lovely baby. They all gather around the Shih Tzu. But my mongrel,
Yeah. Didn't get a look in.
no.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to hearing what she has to say about that on the podcast.
Okay.
That's all.
don't get me to the groomer enough.
Things like that. Sort of dog voice.
Oh, dare you?
No, I think she's half poodle, so it would be, I don't think we are looking after my appearance. Although the other half is Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
Oh,
so
what would
she'd
that
probably
character
mix-
be like?
That would be, these scoundrels cannot run a country. We should go on horseback to hell.
You're
It'll be
describing my ideal couple.
like, yeah, exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, Frank's fabulous on it, so I would love you to listen.
Oh,
Frank, you are.
yes, okay.
Frank, can I? I'm quite keen to know what Pierre got. Because I'm imagining for Christmas.
Oh, I thought don't bring up his high levels. He'll be on all day.
Oh, come on. It's going to be. What are you predicting? Do you think he gets a South Africa, a sort of a jerky in the stocking?
Do you think Pierre knows, by the way?
What?
I was just talking off air that you meet some people who are very good looking. Beautiful ladies and men. I was talking about, I met Reggie. Is he called Reggie?
Oh, no, Archie Medici.
Archie, of course.
Who's in
Archie from
Saltburn,
Saltburn.
The star.
And he struck me as every good-looking person knows they're good-looking. We all know that. But if we just pretend a little bit, you occasionally meet ones that don't seem to know they're good-looking.
Yes.
And they're very nice, those, because you think, oh, you're nice to be with and nice to look at. Do you think Pierre knows, Emily, that he's good-looking?
No.
Oh.
I'm a big nerd.
I don't think he does.
No, I don't.
And I think that's part of the charm.
Don't worry.
He's got the Medici charm.
Medici.
He does. Look at him. Smug as a bog.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
I want to know, we got onto the subject of Pierre's gifts, because I'm thinking there would have been some jerky in the stocking.
Oh, Pierre's gifts will be here all day. Oh, you mean his Christmas gifts?
Go on then. Do they theme it, the parents?
I would say my gifts were painfully on brand.
Okay.
What do you mean?
They were
Mainly
Pierre gifts.
Mainly books. I wasn't specifically given any biltong or dry vorse on my own, but needless to say, the family home was stocked
With biltong.
with meats.
Yeah.
Oh, was it
Very
all
meat-heavy
dry?
Christmas, all
Yeah.
dry. I got a book that I think you would enjoy a great deal, Frank. Winters in the World, A Journey Through the Anglo-Saxon Year.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, it's a whole year's diary of all the Anglo-Saxon sort of festivals and feasts and things, and also like harvest time and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm feeling I've read a book like that.
Have you?
Anyway, we shouldn't talk about it in too much depth on breakfast radio.
No,
But it
tell me
sounds
more
great.
about
It
the
sounds great.
Anglo-Saxon.
Tell me. Yes. Nice.
Yeah, that a book about cobalt.
Book about cobalt.
Yes,
Is that a super
The
villain?
colour.
it would be good. The Congolese mineral in this case.
You got a book about a Congolese. See, I'm quite intolerant, and I recognise this in myself. I was talking to a friend of mine, and he said, "I've just read a book about the forest fires in Alberta." I said, "Why have you read that?"
You can't say to someone,
No,
why
I
have you
know
read
you
that?
can't, but
Why have you done that?
I'm afraid when I remembered that, I'd already said it. What do you want to bother reading that for? Cobalt.
Yes, so as a metal, it's in
Is
all
it-
of our
Can I ask you a
laptops.
question?
Yes.
In order to sell it, what line does it have cobalt? Does it have like a dash? The Congolese mineral?
I don't think it
Because that's not selling it twice.
This time it's mineral.
It's back, and this time it's mineral.
It's very important. It's
I'm not saying it isn't. Okay, I'm not dissing Cobalt.
I don't
Let's
wanna
make
fall-
that clear before
you better not be.
before we get ripped apart on social media.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Oh no, Frank and Pierre have fallen out. What did they fall out over?
Cobalt.
The
Yeah.
Congolese mineral.
Oh, yeah. You say cobalt, and as their brow furrows, you clarify the Congolese mineral. And they go, say no more. I mean, it's not exclusively Congolese, but in the context of this book,
No, obviously not.
no, that would be
Is it
mad.
a picture book?
It has
It's a
pictures.
pop- it's a pop-up.
on the cover. Yes, it's a. when you pull a tab, the Chinese government comes and builds a mine.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's brilliant.
If you're going to build a mine, you really want a pop-down book. I don't know if they exist.
where the contents get
chapters?
further away.
Exactly. It burrows into the back cover of the book. How do they do this?
Are there chapters in the Cobalt book?
Of course, there's chapters.
It doesn't sound like the sort of book. It sounds.
It's got to be organised.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's organised.
Chapter 7. Where's that shovel? Oh, it's drawing me in. We don't often know. This is the closest we've ever been to Richard and Judy's book club. This week. What is it called? Cobalt?
The Congolese mineral.
I have to look up the title because it's not called Cobalt the Congolese.
It's not
It is
called-
now. Rebrand.
But that sounds like if it was on a variety bill. Cobalt, and then underneath it the bill matter. The Congolese mineral dances for you.
Frank Skinner.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, can I tell you about some gifts I got?
Please.
Because I loved them, Frank. My
Okay.
2 favourite gifts I loved.
Right.
But, well, I'll tell you about them. The first thing I loved, my first favourite gift, was a welly. But not just any welly.
A welly as in a Wellington boot. One.
No. I'm using it in the fashion sense. A welly, like a jean.
Oh, okay.
A pair
sorry.
of wellies,
I see.
but a cut-off welly, an ankle welly.
Oh, I've seen a few of those around on the ladies. They look cool.
Let's be honest, on the elderly ladies.
No, I've seen them. I think they've bled into the young and fashionable.
Well, what I've realised about them, they're a bit of a game changer.
Oh, yeah?
Because what's the one thing that puts you off the Wellington boot? It's the removal.
Yes.
Leaning on the radiator, lying on the floor sometimes. Not so with the ankle welly, Frank. Came off so cleanly. So, and also, it's got a slightly jaunty look, which I like.
I think they actually look cool, which wellies generally don't.
It's got something of the Max Wall as well. I like it. Oh, who's the other one? Is it Jimmy Cricket? Did he have a
Yes.
push
Oh,
down
yeah, he
welly?
wore a Wellington.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
got that flavour. So I like the welly. Then I got the heated Alaskan faux fur throw blanket.
Oh,
What, an electric blanket?
really?
I thought they'd gone.
Well, so did I, Frank. They're back. So I did feel a bit. I mean, even though I was thrilled, I did get a pair of Wellingtons and a heated blanket.
Did you get a nice bottle of scent? Cobalt by Lanfric.
But I was so thrilled.
Did you not get a bottle of scent? I'd
I did.
absolutely assumed that you'd get not only a bottle of scent, but one with a squirter ball.
Yes, I
Yeah.
did.
You know, the sort of bagpipe fitting you get on.
Oh, I love that, Frank.
Oh, yeah.
So the Alaskan faux, I think its full name is Alaskan Husky faux fur heated throw.
It's a lot.
Gosh,
of-
yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
mouthful, but it
Yeah.
is amazing. It's got a little remote on it. You can turn the
throw.
yeah. When I went online though, and I thought this is so good, and I wanted to check how I used it, and I wanted to keep it safe. And I thought this is one of the best gifts I've ever received. But there were about 150 reviews. I'm not joking. Every single one, bar about 3, about 148 said, wonderful for my elderly mother. Keeps her very warm. I read on.
I get reviews like that.
Frank Skinner. Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you know how we like it asked to us. Do you need any help at all? I'd prefer you use the correct emphasis.
How do you say Happy New Year?
Happy New Year. Of course I don't.
No, but there's
I
a
say
thing.
Happy New Year.
Don't Americans emphasise the new? Happy New Year.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of depressing rom-coms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always a character saying that, Happy New Year, and someone's crying.
Yeah.
But it'll all be all right by the end, Frank.
Ring out the old, ring in the new. Do you remember that? The George Harrison song.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah, it's one of the few New Year's songs. I think people think...
ABBA
Oh,
did a New Year's
Oh, yeah,
one?
they did. But
ABBA
there aren't
Voyage?
many, because you don't get the run-up.
that's true. Perhaps there's a gap in the market for certain holidays that don't have a commemorative
I know, but
song.
because you got Christmas just before it, you don't. There's no. There's a very tiny window for a New Year hit, a New Year's song.
Boxing Day song? Maybe.
That's
But-
one day.
But if we nail it, if we all work hard and release a Boxing Day song together, they'll have to play it. It's the only one.
I think there's a song called "Cold Turkey" by John Lennon.
But see, there we go. It's been done before. Could
We
do a
can't
song.
release a single, us three. It's a very odd band. It's a very odd look, isn't
I
it? We
think-
haven't got a... Do you know what I mean?
It's Rod, Jane, and Freddie.
Well, I've said already on social media, I think we look like we own a reasonably successful family removals firm.
Do we?
Yeah.
For removing families.
We just look like no.
Is this some
A
underworld?
family-run removals firm.
I think that's right. It looks like we collect our family company proudly sponsor the local football
Yeah,
team
he helps out in the
under
warehouse.
18. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
carry
can
them
imagine us doing an Edinburgh play.
Yeah.
Where you play the woman I love but who's worried about my experiments. I play Dr. Frankenstein. And Pierre... Well, anyway, what shall we talk about now?
The Lord gives with one hand.
Is it because I'm wearing my bolt necklace today?
I actually thought about writing an Edinburgh play where I was Dr. Frankenstein and you were the monster, Pierre.
Oh, that would be
you?
A comedy.
That'd be
A comedy.
great.
Because you don't get
in.
enough of them chatting in the book.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
But you know, Frank, that's always my favourite. Is, for example, is it Davros in Doctor Who?
Yeah.
As I've said to you, where's his interior life? I want to see Mrs. Davros. I want to see his home life. You never see the monster's home
Oh,
life.
never say never. The show continues.
I love it. So do you like the sound of my blanket, Frank?
Oh, yes.
I've been trained by my partner to have the bedroom like ice.
I'm going to buy you an Alaskan.
I wear more clothes in bed than most young people do on a night out. I really do.
Do you?
I wear a lot of clothes. In fact, I stayed at a friend's house this week. I was frozen in the night.
You don't go robe, do you? And we know why.
No, I don't go
Why is
robe.
that, Frank?
Because I don't know when you're supposed to have why the window is to put it on.
I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
And he doesn't like the belt cutting into his waist.
It's
No,
a
but-
liminal piece of
Well,
clothing.
what do you put in the pocket of a robe?
I've got all sorts
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Use the horrid tissues.
Yeah, you're not
That's
wrong.
right. I'm a handkerchief man. You know, you would think in the modern age when there's all this stuff about the planet and stuff, the handkerchief would have made a comeback. The tissues would have gone.
You're
But
not a brief
no.
encounter.
Tighty. Yeah, I think that it's Othello to put people off.
That'll be it.
They're just trouble handkerchiefs.
Frank Skinner on
Absolute Radio.
Frank,
Yeah.
I want to discuss some rather exciting news with you. Well, I think it's something you're going to be excited about, and so does Ruth Jordan,
Oh,
who's got in touch.
good old Ruth. Happy
Over to
New
my-
Year.
Correspondent, my Cobalt correspondent. Yeah.
Ruth says, morning and happy new year to you all. How does Frank feel about 2024 bringing us Elvis Evolution,
Ooh.
the new Elvis
yes.
hologram show? Will Frank be going, and will it be as good as ABBA Voyage?
I think you mean ABBA Voyage.
Sorry, a voyage. A bar voyage.
Look,
Yeah.
I started saying voyage, and I realised this is all to do with Frank Skinner. Because I never said things like voyage.
Well, people say, I bet you've said Bon Voyage, haven't you?
Yeah, but that's because it's Bon Voyage.
That was the Bon Jovi tribute show. No, I think I'm just going rhythmically. ABBA Voyage sounds better than ABBA Voyage. ABBA Voyage is a sudden
That's because
pulling
you've
up.
gone voyage and it's voyage.
Ah.
Okay.
What if you extend that? Voyage.
Voyage. ABBA Voyage.
Yeah.
No. For
Have
me,
you
it's
been to
Voyage.
ABBA?
Let's call the whole thing AI.
Have you been to ABBA Voyage? You went with Kath because Kath, we
Yes,
should
I
say,
have
is
been.
obsessed.
I have been. My partner's been 3 times. And taken my child, I think, on all 3 occasions, and he's a heavy metal enthusiast.
Okay.
But it'd be good practice for when Kiss Voyage begins.
Are they calling it Voyage
I don't
as well?
think so.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they'll do that. Yeah, it's good. It's good because
Is it though?
it looks like ABBA on stage from the 70s, which is impressive. You know, it is good, yeah.
I know the ABBA thing. I'm saying the Elvis one.
No, the Elvis one, I'm convinced will be awful.
Yeah. This is. Oh no, the ABBA I can deal with.
I love Elvis. I really love. I grew up. He was like so important to me, and I really loved his music, his films. But he has been indirectly responsible for more intense naff product
Yes.
than any other artist. It's not his fault.
Yes.
Now, I could be wrong, and I'd love it if it's great, but everything I've read about it, it sounds to me, it says that they've got access to home movies and personal photos from the collection. What's that?
Previously unseen, as they call
I don't want him
know.
shooting. I don't want him saying Mike Stone must die.
No, but I thought they've selling. It sounds like it's going to be like the ABBA thing, but ABBA don't. What does it mean, personal? It makes me think of that projector that my son got from Lidl.
Yes.
I think it's going to be a bit like that.
Oh, Super 8 home
I
movies.
see. Well, it's quite a kernel idea, isn't it? We're going to make it into a hologram.
But you see, this is
7 shows a day.
well. When I was a young lad,
I went to see.
Frank loved that.
There was
film.
a
I
thing.
know.
He actually thought it was very
Hanks is-
good.
Tom
I
Hanks-
love Tom Hanks
It
as
was-
the Colonel.
That's a kernel. We're going to make a little.
See, that was pretty good product, that film. It bent the.
Oh, it certainly bent a lot of rules.
It bent some of the facts.
It wasn't young.
But as I read an interview with Werner Herzog,
Yes.
the German
You two are
filmmaker,
obsessed by him.
I love it.
and they asked him about whether the film had done, whether it was factual.
Yes.
And he said, if you want facts, read the Manhattan phone directory.
Yes.
And then he told them how many entries there were in it. And
Well,
said,
sadly
and
it's-
every one of them has been checked and is factually accurate. I thought, all right.
Have you heard maybe the best ever use of Happy New Year?
No.
He was at a big, he's doing an interview on stage with a bunch of other very respected documentarians, and they were all agreeing how, as a documentary maker, you must stay back and not interfere. And he was in the audience and got the microphone and said, no, you must be like the wasp that stings, and spoke really in favor of interfering and making things happen, even if
Yeah.
you're the documentary maker. And everyone started booing him.
Wow.
So the last thing he said in the mic before he handed it back was, Happy New Year, losers.
Can I just say, bit of a git, Frank. I like
He
him.
is. Well, in this interview, he came over as a bit of a git.
Yeah.
He'd be a nice friend for you.
Yeah, he does seem very difficult.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we were discussing the Elvis
Yes.
experience.
Yeah, and I should say I'd have no inside information. It might be absolutely brilliant, and I'd be happy if it was brilliant.
Has it occurred to you that if it is brilliant, and if Kiss is brilliant, then your whole family will have a hologram show each to be obsessed with?
That's true.
Oh, I love that way of looking at it, Pierre.
That is true. Buzz could go and see Kiss forever, and I could see Elvis forever, and Kath can see ABBA Voyage.
Yeah.
You see, I think maybe I might see if Kath will take me to that ABBA Voyage, because what's concerned me about it, I'm open to it. What I've been concerned about is that it feels like it's slightly too close to the arena of, My Greatest Fear, Frank.
What, your greatest fear? Is it chives?
No, that's up there.
Okay.
That's in the arena.
Okay.
It's cartoon characters
Oh, yes.
interacting with real people.
Yeah.
And it feels a little bit close to that.
Okay.
That I'm
That
having
bit
to
when
invest.
Bert pulls his white trousers down so he looks
don't.
more like a penguin to dance with the cartoon.
Lies. And that's why I didn't like cartoons. Lies. These
Yeah.
are lies.
These are visual lies.
Well, there was a thing called Elvis in Concert, which was, Elvis the Concert, and it was the TCB band and various singers.
I don't know why, but the whole concept of TCB
JD,
makes me
taking care of business.
on a belt. Why
yeah.
would you write those initials on?
Anyway, why don't they bring out poo bags with that on?
yeah.
The Elvis
TCB.
estate. Anyway, and they were all there, all the back, J.D. Summer and the Stamps, Sweet Inspirations. But Elvis obviously wasn't there, and Elvis was on a big screen, so they played live and Elvis sang. But in the middle of the stage, there was this gaping space where Elvis would have been. And it was upsetting.
Yeah.
Was
Really
it?
upsetting.
Is it Roger Rabbit upsetting?
In fact, well, on the opening night thing, Kat Slater was there from EastEnders, and a woman who I think can now be called a friend of this show, Big Mo.
Oh, yeah.
And about
Cat Slater, Jessie Wallace. That's it,
yeah, Jessie Wallace, she, and who must live in a teepee. Anyway, she about half an hour into the thing, you look across and Jessie Wallace, it looks like Alice Cooper, and mascara has run that much. She's cried so much at the Elvis thing. And Big Mo, fast asleep. Oh, it's like a little pocket of the Soap Awards.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
When I was at Elvis the concert, I met Glenn D. Harding, who was the piano player.
Hang on, is this the one where Cat Slater was crying and Big Mo fell asleep?
Yes, well, and then I met
I love that episode of Friends.
I was excited to meet Glenn D. Harding because he'd been Elvis's piano player for ages. And I was on about when Elvis does Oh, my love, when he gets up and does the piano.
Ah.
And I said, so that was a nice little rest for you. And he said, yeah, I didn't watch it. Elvis, just about the worst piano player I ever saw. Elvis, and as much as I love him, his other great musical claim to fame is, I think, and I'd be happy to hear of any other suggestions for this on 8, 12, 15, one of the great non-playing guitar players.
Yes.
Of having the guitar round your neck, but just moving it about a bit and not even being amplified.
A vestigial guitar.
So Frank, what was the deal with the guitar? Because I saw him sometimes in was it Blue Hawaii, films like that. He'd sort of make a nod towards playing. Did he play it?
Well, he played ukulele, but I don't think he did. He could play guitar. Fairly rudimentary, I would say. But when he has it on stage, I think it's more of a prop. I can't think of anyone else who uses a guitar like that, but I bet our readers can. Yeah. The guitar's quite a big thing to have around your neck, especially if it's in a big leather covering with your name engraved on it.
It's way down by rhinestone.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the stars, they decide later, as we all know in their career, to start going down the own stuff route, don't they? Madonna is one. And at that point, they say, I'm going to start learning the guitar. And I always think when I see them get it out on stage, I think, I don't want to witness your lessons.
No, well, he started...
Wait until you've done your 10,000.
He started with the guitar, to be fair, but he wasn't, he wasn't Jimi Hendrix. He was...
what was he?
He was the singing nun. I don't know if you remember her.
Oh, yeah.
Dominique,
How do you feel about the Elvis-themed bar and restaurant on site?
Well, it says there'll be live music, which means there'll be an Elvis impersonator, which is something else I've always really struggled with.
And the food,
basically,
obviously
I
lovely for the health
really
conscious.
love Elvis and his music. And then as you get further from that centre, that core, into the 7 circles of hell, which include impersonators and terrible merch, then, it's not Elvis's fault, as I say. I was in a terrible play about Elvis, so, I'm not innocent. My hands have blood on them.
It wasn't that terrible, Frank.
It was pretty terrible.
There must be. The restaurant must serve that. What was his mad sandwich? Peanut butter and.
It was called Fool's Gold.
Deep fried peanut butter and
Fool's
jam.
Gold loaf, he called it. Fool's
Sometimes
Gold.
one of his things was vegetable soup sandwiches.
Oh, you can't do
is-
that, Elvis.
No.
That's what someone should have said at some point.
Anyway, it opens in London. Go and see it.
What do you think they had a hard time choosing the era?
Well, I don't know if they've chosen an era. I think that's it. I don't think it's going to be like Voyage. I think it's just going to be a slideshow.
So they're not going to commit to, say, the TCB era, Mike Stone Must Die?
No, honestly, I think it's going to with a,
You don't think the
what do
hologram
they
gets
call
fatter
those
throughout the
things
show?
like David Baddiel does live? When you press a button.
A projector.
No, what do they call it?
Slideshow.
Oh, thanks for your help.
Audiovisual presentation.
No,
PowerPoint presentation.
PowerPoint, thank you.
He said it.
Okay, well done you. Silver Star.
Silver.
Anyway, it opens in
Sorry.
London. Go and see it, it might be great.
Silver only.
You think it would open in America, wouldn't you, Elvis, from the southern states of America? But you try opening a show in the southern states of America with the word evolution in the title and just stand back and watch them come.
Frank Skinner.
Absolute Radio.
Frank, you were asking earlier if we could think of, or if the readers could think of any performers who used a guitar essentially in a sort of
As a prop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Joe in North Chapel. Would you say Joe in North Chapel or Joe in North Chapel?
I don't know where North Chapel is, I'm going to be honest, but I like the sound of it.
Okay. Joe has got in touch to say, morning, Frank, long-time reader, first-time correspondent. I believe Shakin' Stevens was one who had a guitar as more of a prop in his videos and on his Top of the Pops performances. I'm sure you know better than me, though, as I do not have nearly as many years' experience on this planet as you, dear Frank.
Okay. Barbed.
Happy New Year to you and the team.
Here's the thing. I saw Shakin' Stevens in the old times. Before he'd starred in Elvis, the musical. And he was a proper hardcore 50s rock and roller. He did like original songs as well as covers.
Yeah.
And it was quite a dirty kind of an act. I don't mean in
Yes.
a rudeness kind of way, but he was down, he loved the music and it was very real. And then he played Elvis, and then he didn't stop playing Elvis. He just carried on playing Elvis for the rest of his career.
Did
But
you
when-
see him as Elvis? I did.
Well, I mean, on Top of the Pops, he was Elvis forever.
I went to the stage show. He
did you?
signed my programme.
Nice. But Shakin' Stevens and the Sunsets was an authentic 50s rock band, although they weren't from the 50s, but they clearly loved it.
Rockabilly style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they just loved that stuff. But then he totally became Elvis.
He
Took
did.
over his brain.
I'm looking forward to the AI Shakin' Stevens show.
But what do they do? Green Door. Is there any other ones?
Yeah.
What's the other ones? Rocking around the Christmas tree.
There's
You can't
this
build
old house in the middle of the street. This old house. Yeah, they were covers as well. Green Door, I think, was Frankie Vaughan, a man who was in the 50s, was enormous and said that he turned down Marilyn Monroe.
Oh.
And I met Frankie Vaughan. I was just starting to get famous I've used the F word.
Lovely.
And he met me, and he was a really charming British showbiz kind of guy. And as I left, I met him in Jackie Mason's dressing room. And as I left, he shook my hand and said, "Continued success." I loved it. I could have kissed him.
What a charmer.
Give me the moonlight.
This is Frank Skinner. This is
Absolute Radio.
By the way, Pierre Novelli and I will be at, we'll be at the Gielgud Theatre in the first 2 weeks of February.
Selling
Come and see
M&Ms.
us. Yeah,
I can't wait.
but we're also doing a national tour,
Yeah.
so we'll be everywhere. So check us out.
Gielgud, is it 5th to 17th?
5th of Feb.
I'm coming along. I'm booking tickets.
Nice.
Well, you say that. Will you let me come and see you afterwards? I think you dash off, don't you?
No, if you're in the building,
I always,
don't buy tickets, darling.
Okay.
And then we're going on a road trip with maybe some more
you?
Anglo-Saxon cemeteries
Oh yeah,
and so
yeah.
forth. Because it's
Anyway.
very rock and roll.
For a minute, it sounded really rock and roll, and
Really
then you
rock and
mentioned
roll.
the Anglo-Saxon cemeteries.
Yeah, we might. I've really got into the English Civil War. Just
Yes.
maybe we can touch on some of that. So.
What about, Frank? I think Pierre, you know what he's going to try and get you onto?
Go on.
The Congolese. The Congolese minerals.
Here's a question.
Harder to go on a tour there, though.
I've just read the last 5 books I've read have all been about the English Civil War.
Congratulations.
Right, 5 consecutive. The last one I read, and they've all been excellent, was a book called Restless Republic. And it's written, it's a serious book, yeah? And it's about the period when there was no king in England, when Cromwell was run a
Was that
protectorate.
interregnum? No.
Yeah, so it was the Republic, the British Republic, the English Republic. But it's a serious academic book and brilliant. I'd recommend if anyone's interested. But it's written by a woman.
Oh, dear.
What?
Yeah, no, I haven't finished.
That was the Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio.
I haven't finished
Frank
yet.
will be back next week.
Well, I haven't finished. That is at the end of the
If
sentence.
the producer edited it there on the podcast.
It's written by a woman called Anna Key.
No.
No,
And where does she live, Frank?
in the UK. No, but I didn't know.
Anarchy.
I said to a friend, I've just read 5 books about consecutive, and they've all been good.
Did David say show off?
And it wasn't. And they said, "Oh, what were they?" And I said, "Oh, well, there's Houghton's book on Cromwell, and there's." And then I said, "And the Restless Republic," and he said, "Oh, yeah, by Anna Key," and I hadn't. I'd missed a pun, but it can't be a pun because she's a real serious historian.
You could have had such a nice little who's on first exchange. Restless Republic. Anarchy. It was, yes.
But what do you make of it?
I think, well, it's nominative determinism, isn't it?
Yeah. I suppose if you're a kid called Anarchy, someone's going to start talking to you about the concept of anarchy quite early on, much earlier than any other child.
Well,
I develop an interest.
I worked with a guy called Niven Smith, and I said to him, he was about 20, and I said, were you named after David Niven? And he said, who's that?
What?
And I thought, surely somebody would have mentioned Niven. Anyway. And in case you're thinking, this was a long time ago, but it's not just because he's, young and young excuse for everything. Listen, Sarah Champion. Sorry, were you saying something?
No, I want to keep the last line of the show as young excuse for everything.
Yeah. Anyway, Sarah Champion is up next. She'll like that segue. And guess what? This Wednesday, Series 9 of Frank Skinner's Poetry Podcast starts. The first episode will be T.S. Eliot. Not as hard as you think.
My fave.
It's actually one of his more accessible poems, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock. Let us go then, you and I, etc. Download it from wherever you get your podcasts. Thanks for doing that in anticipation. Thanks for listening this morning, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now get out.